Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. This is Kemi, and I'm here to talk about Beyond the Gates Season 2, Episode 38. Before we begin, make sure you guys are liking, subscribing, and turning on your post notifications so you'll know whenever I post. All right, so we start the episode off with everybody watching the Anita interview. So we see Kat, Laura, and Nicole are watching. We see Danny and Andre at her place watching. Vanessa's at the country club and she's watching it with some other people there. Anastasia does come in and she's mad that nobody is like greeting her and trying to sit her and get, help her or whatever. And then she sees that, what they're watching. And so she's just like, oh my goodness, she she um she sees what happened or what Anita's talking about. And then we see Naomi and Ashley are at the coffee shop and they're watching it. So after that, we see let me just get this. So after the interview, they everyone is talking about, Anita did good or whatnot. We see with Kat and Laura, they're talking and Kat is giving Laura credit for having Anita go and do her mammogram because again, she was helping during Winterfest and she had talked. Laura had talked Anita to make sure she does her, do her appointments or whatever. That's why she's there to help or whatever. So Laura gives props to Nicole for loaning her out to Anita in the first place or whatever. Nicole thinks that, it's something else. And she says that the Duprees have, she said it takes a lot of pieces to get Anita that got Anita to where she's at, and she thinks that the Duprees have angels looking out for them. And Laura says she believes that too. She believes in angels because she knows that her mom is watching over her 24/7, and it's the only way that she can explain why she's still alive or whatever. And then she has a flashback to her accident with Leslie running her off the road. Kat says she wishes they were avenging angels that would strike Leslie and Eva down. Kat lists all of Leslie's sins or whatever. And then she says that she's trying to rehab her image with this clinic. And then also with the money from Anita and Nicole, of course, she's like, oh, Gran was doing the right thing and it's not her fault that Leslie's the one who got the money, X, Y, and Z or whatever. No, Nicole and Laura are giving Eva a pass because she was raised by Leslie or whatever. Kat then says it's not fair that they have to cross paths with the woman who wrecked their lives. And she makes digs at Eva and how everyone has forgiven her or whatever. Of course, again, they're defending Eva. They say she has remorse, and she was lied to just like the rest of them. Kat doesn't want to hear it, and she says Laura almost died because of them, and she won't forgive and she won't forget. So we see Vanessa, she visits Nicole, and they commiserate over their losses. Her losing Doug, Vanessa losing Doug, Nicole losing Ted, even though it's not the same loss, they still lost. So they commiserate over that. Then we see Smitty comes over and he thanks Vanessa and Nicole for helping Samantha get an escort. And then she says that he says that they want to talk, Martin and Smitty want to talk to Donnell before the cotillion because they just want to, get where his head is at. So they're all, Nicole is happy that they have so much what is it that they're so ingrained in their children's lives and they're good role models and not everyone has a good role model or whatever. So And I do apologize. I'm gonna be all over with this episode because this episode was all over. So we're at the country club, and Vernon and um, Vernon and what's her name? Vernon and Anita. sorry, Vernon. Sorry, Vernon and Anita. They come in, and the guests are, not the what's it called? Yeah, the guests come in, and not the guests. What are they called? The hostess. Sorry, comes and gives them their props for what they did, and gives her, I mean, for her interview and all this other stuff. And then Anastasia comes up, and she gives her, she gives them empathy. And Anita is just like, child, I don't believe your empathy. And uh she tells her to take some rocks and walks into the ocean and go duel with the rest of the bottom feeders. And her full sympathy is making her sicker. So Vanessa comes up, and she's just like, I can drive you. So she tells her, Anita tells Vanessa, she won't be maligned by someone who consorts with criminals and degenerates, and she won't be treated like a second class citizen by a woman who used to shake her tail feather on stage and married into money. And Vernon says, my daddy built this club, and he built it for everybody. And maybe it's time that I speak with Gabe about your membership. And she was just like, I'm good. And she, scurries on or whatever. And it's just like, so y'all can have this smoke for, and don't get me wrong, I love the smoke that they have for Anastasia. I want more. I've been saying I want more of the Bell Clairs, because this is a rivalry that I can get behind. But I need them to have this exact same smoke for Leslie, because Leslie is doing way more to them than Anastasia has done. All Anastasia has done is just talk smack. Leslie is walking in a house. She's just, but anyways, so they go and sit down, and they're sitting with Vanessa, and Vanessa is, Vanessa is talking about how how this announcement is going over. And what did she say? She's just giving her kudos. And she talks about Deanna. And Anita gives her words of encouragement. So that's when she leaves. Let's see what else happened in this episode, because a lot happened in this episode. Oh no, I'm gonna come back to this one, because this was a lot. Because like a lot of stuff, when I say a lot of stuff was just intertwined in this episode, and it was just like but we saw Naomi, and let me see. And I know I had a picture of them. Let me check real quick. Sorry guys, I apologize. I thought I saved it. Because we see, what's this girl's name? Naomi and Chelsea. Not Chelsea, Naomi and Ashley. So they are at the coffee house, and we see them watching the Anita interview. And we see them watching the Anita interview. And after they're done watching it, Ashley is telling Naomi that she needs to tell her family about the what's it called? She needs to tell her family about her testing positive or whatever. And Naomi like gets an attitude with her and was just like, stay out of my business. And it was just like, man, but you told her your business. So what do you mean stay out of it? Like, what do you mean? And so she Ashley is just like, you've never bitten my head off like that. Like, what's really going on? And she tells her about what's it called? She tells her about Jacob moving out and him going deeper in undercover or whatever. And she tells her, I got your back. I'll be there for you whenever, wherever, whatever. Um, we see, let's see. I guess we can come here, child. So we see them, Eva and Leslie, they are at the club and they're talking about Eva is telling her that, the hospitals are donating heart monitors, and that Derek took the job. Leslie is happy about the heart monitors. She don't too much care about Derek taking the job. She said good news would have been her getting her house and Isaiah making an honest woman out of Eva or whatever. Um, so then Leslie gets an alert and she looks at her phone and she's just like, oh, it's Anita. It's always Dupree's this, Dupree's that. They're always in the news. And she's just like, you know what? I'm going to make my announcement about the new clinic and all my charitable work that I'm doing. And it's going to be, and then, it's going to be the, and it's going to be Dupree who's Leslie is in the news now or whatever. And she's telling Eva, you need to go and find a venue for us to do this. And she tells her, we'll do it here. We'll pay the owners for their, revenue for the rest of the day. And I'm going to go get all the news people or whatever. So that's when we see, and this irritated my soul today. This episode irritated my soul. So we see Leslie, she's at the club. She runs into Smitty because we had seen Smitty in a hallway watching the interview. He's sitting down in the lobby of the country club. Leslie shows up and she asks him to come and, be the reporter to report about her clinic. And he's like, why would I do that when you stole this from my daughter? And she was just like, well, Samantha can stand beside me or she could take pictures. And he was just like, girl, please. So he walks away and he leaves. We then see her. She goes into the country club. She sees Anita and Vernon. She goes and sits down with them again. They don't say nothing to her. She asks, she tells her, let's see, what does she tell her? What happened? Child, she says something about, about it, and then she says something about her, her diagnosis, and she says, I didn't watch the whole thing. I just saw some clips, but can I get Gail King's number? And Anita's just like, I don't have her number. And she'll just like, well, how did you get in touch? And she'll just like, my publicist. She'll just like, okay, well, I'll take the publicist number. And Vernon was just like, we already got your info. We'll send it to the publicist, but I don't know if they're taking on any new clients. And she'll just like, oh, I see how it is. Y'all want to keep everything to yourselves. That's fine. I'll figure out a way to do it on my own. So she gets up to leave and she says to she says to Anastasia, even though Anita has cancer, she's still a big hogger or something like that. She leaves and then she shows up at Danny's house. She knocks on the door, whatever, and Danny goes because her and Andre were talking about the whole Anita thing. And then she shows up. Danny goes to the door and she's just like, she was just like, why are you at my back door? And she was just like, because I thought it would be a surprise if me coming to the door would get me me coming to the back door would get me in faster. And Danny is just like, no. And she closes the door. This lady opens her door and walks in her house, and Danny does nothing. When I tell you, I was so pissed because Danny, you are supposed to be the crazy one. You should have you should have pushed that lady. You need to have your blinky in the kitchen, and you should have pulled that sucker out and said, you are trespassing, and I have grounds to pow you right now. Cause man, why are you walking in my house? Like, are you okay? So she comes in and she's just like, can you get me your fashion editors? Because I want to announce the clinic. And Danny was just like, no, why would they want to announce a clinic? And no, I'm not doing nothing for you. Get out of my house. And then she starts flirting with Andre and was just like, well, can you come take the pictures? And he was just like, get out. So he pushes her out the house or whatever. And I was just like, they really had her everywhere today. And it was so irritating, or this episode or whatever. So we then see Eva, she's still at Orphe Jeans and she's trying to like do some stuff for the clinic. And Laura pops up and Laura, approaches her and they sit. So they talk about, it being a year from the accident, and Eva's looking like all sad or whatever. And Laura's just like, we don't have to rehash the past. And I'm just like, if y'all not gonna rehash the past, why did you even bring it up, ma'am? Like the fact that, and then she tells her, I've made peace with it. And it's just like, how do you make peace with the fact that the person who did that to you and their co-conspirator, nothing happened to them? How do you make peace with that? Child. So Laura tells her, she's in a much better place, and Eva's in a much better place too. And she's happy that Eva, she chooses not to think about the negative. She's going to think about the positive, and she's happy that Eva has a relationship with Ted or whatever. And Eva's just like, oh, you're amazing. You're happy for me and all this other stuff. Again, what she had mentioned about her not thinking about the negative, Laura was just like, but other people do, and she's just like cat and whatever. So Laura goes and Eva tells her, my mom is on her way back. Laura's just like, I'm not scared of her no more. So she goes to the counter to eat her lunch or whatever. Um yeah, she goes to the counter to eat her lunch. Again, we see Danny and Andre. They talk about Anita, and this is when they were talking about, looking at the comments, and she was happy that the trolls didn't come out, and that's when Leslie showed up. Then they talk about how Anita and Vernon first met, and she hopes that she didn't mess up her girls. He gives her words of encouragement. They kiss, they happy, they lovey-dovey. Vernon and Anita, they are, again, they're happy. They're talking about their what's going on. Anita, they talk about all the stuff that she's getting. She's seeing Tracy and Sharon. They're having a mobile mammogram center set up, and every woman that gets a mammogram gets a free ticket to the concerts. And she's telling him, please hold my feet to the fire. I want to make sure that we continue with this movement, continue doing this movement going forward or whatever. So we see Eva and what's it called? Leslie's back. She's in a suit. She wasn't able to get anybody to come, so she tells Eva that she wants her to live stream it from her phone. Eva's just like, you ain't got no followers. She was just like, we gonna make it do what it do. So they start to do a practice run, and Leslie's walking around the place, and you got the customers like, what is going on? And they messing up. Kat comes in, she sees Laura. They talk about, oh, we had the same idea. That's when Laura tells her, oh, they here, you may not want to be here. Kat sees, she was just like, are they live streaming? So she was just like, yeah, I think so. Laura leaves. Kat walks up on them as they're talking, and then she interrupts them, and she says, she talks about how Leslie is an attempted offer, unaliver or whatever, and the episode ends or whatever. So yeah, so she says, she tells her, I'm sorry, it didn't end that way. She tells her, Kat tells the like the live stream or whatever that Leslie is an attempted unaliver, all this other stuff. Leslie says, turn the camera back on me. Eva says, oh, it wasn't live stream. I was recording so we can edit it out later. And then they high five each other. And I was just like, and you're child, whatever. So, Kat says, she's gonna find a way to expose them and make them pay for what they did if that's the last thing that she does, and that's how the episode ends. So, yeah, it was again, I was irritated with this episode just off rip that Leslie was everywhere today, and her again, Anita and Vernon, y'all were able to scare Anastasia, but y'all can't get security come and get this heifer up out y'all's face all the time. Smitty is the only one who was just like, I'm not helping you with nothing because you stole this clinic idea from my daughter. Get up out my face. And Danny, you let her walk in your house and you ain't say nothing. You ain't do nothing. Like, I need people to really treat Leslie the way she should be treated. And that's what irritates me about this, because she sits there and she does her soliloquies all the time. She always got to have the last word. She always in somebody's face and nobody's ever saying nothing to her. And it's just like, in the real world, this is not how it would happen. Even in soaps, this isn't how it would happen. There have been plenty of times that on General Hospital, Carly would come and get in somebody's face and they would go off on her, slap her, and put her in her place. I need that to happen to Leslie. It's annoying that it's not happening to her. But I digress. Make sure you guys are liking, subscribing, and turning on your post notifications. Get down in the comments. Tell me what you guys thought about this episode, and I will see you guys in the next one.